The year was 1945. As the dust settled on World War II, Soviet intelligence officers combed through captured Nazi research facilities. In a forgotten bunker, they discovered something extraordinary: detailed blueprints for what would have been the most advanced aircraft ever conceived. The Germans called it Silbervogel, the Silver Bird, a bomber capable of reaching speeds 5 times faster than sound, designed to strike anywhere on Earth within hours. This discovery would spark a decades-long obsession within the Soviet Union, later Russia, to create what military experts now call the Holy Grail of aerial warfare, a hypersonic bomber. Today, we're diving into one of military aviation's most secretive and ambitious projects, Russia's multiple attempts to build a deadly hypersonic bomber. This isn't just about impressive technology, it's about a weapon so advanced that it could potentially render traditional air defense systems completely obsolete. A weapon that, if successfully deployed, could fundamentally alter the balance of global power. What you're about to learn has been pieced together from declassified documents, military analysis, and recent developments that reveal just how close Russia may be to achieving this long-sought capability. If you believe understanding these technological advancements is crucial for appreciating today's global security landscape, type "informed" in the comments below. The Nazi origins Silbervogel. To truly understand Russia's hypersonic ambitions, we need to go back to their starting point, Nazi Germany's Silbervogel project. In the final desperate years of World War II, German aerospace engineer Eugen Sänger developed a revolutionary concept, an antipodal bomber that could skip across the upper atmosphere like a stone across water. This silver bird would be rocket-launched to incredible speeds, reaching Mach 10 to 15, allowing it to bomb targets halfway around the world before landing at its home base. The concept was revolutionary. Not just a faster bomber, but one operating in a completely different domain, beyond the reach of conventional defenses. The Nazis never built it. The technology simply didn't exist, but the Soviets recognized its potential immediately. Under the leadership of academician Mstislav Keldysh at the NIY-1 Research Institute, Soviet scientists launched their own version of this ambitious project, codenamed NII-1MAP. Like the Germans before them, they discovered that the materials, science, propulsion technology, and aerodynamics knowledge of the 1940s simply couldn't support such an advanced concept. But the seed was planted. The hypersonic dream didn't die. It merely went dormant, waiting for technology to catch up with ambition. The Cold War, 2160, development and hypersonic aspirations fast forward to the 1970s. The Cold War is at its height, and both superpowers are racing to develop ever more advanced strategic bombers. The Tupolev Design Bureau began work on what would become the 2160, nicknamed White Swan by the Russians and Blackjack by NATO. This wasn't just another bomber. It was the Soviet Union's answer to America's advanced B-1 bomber program, and it would become the largest and fastest bomber ever to enter military service. But even as the Tu-160 was being developed, Soviet military planners were looking beyond supersonic. They wanted hypersonic. The difference is critical. Supersonic means faster than sound, Mach 1+. Hypersonic means Mach 5 or greater, 5 times the speed of sound or more. At such velocities, the physics of flight changes dramatically. The air itself begins to chemically dissociate around the aircraft. Traditional control surfaces become ineffective. Materials melt under extreme temperatures. The Soviet Union's collapse temporarily halted these ambitious programs, but the dream remained. And as Russia regained its economic and military footing in the early 2000s, the hypersonic bomber project was quietly revived. The modern era. From Tu-160M2 to hypersonic missiles, when Vladimir Putin came to power, he inherited a significantly reduced but still formidable Russian Air Force. The strategic bomber fleet, particularly the Tu-160s, had suffered from years of neglect and underfunding. Rather than starting from scratch, Russia adopted a two-pronged approach: modernize existing platforms to carry hypersonic weapons, develop an entirely new stealth bomber with hypersonic capabilities. The first approach led to the Tu-160M2 program, a comprehensive upgrade to the Soviet-era Blackjack bombers. These weren't just refurbishments. They represented a fundamental reimagining of the aircraft's capabilities. The modernized Tu-160M2 bombers received entirely new electronics, engines, and, most significantly, the capability to launch Russia's newest hypersonic missiles, including the dreaded Kh-47M2 Kinzhal dagger. The Kinzhal deserves special attention here. First publicly revealed in 2018, this air-launched hypersonic missile is claimed to reach speeds of Mach 10 with a range of over 2,000 kilometers. When carried by the Tu-22M3 or MiG-31K aircraft, it becomes a formidable standoff weapon that can potentially penetrate current missile defense systems. In May 2020, Russia conducted a test launch of a new unnamed hypersonic missile from a Tu-22M3M bomber. This represented a significant milestone in Russia's quest to field operational hypersonic capabilities on its bomber fleet. But modifying existing platforms was always a stopgap measure. Russia's true ambition remained a purpose-built hypersonic bomber. PAC-DA, Russia's next generation hypersonic bomber. The culmination of Russia's hypersonic bomber ambitions is embodied in the PAC-DA program, the Prospective Aviation Complex for Long-Range Aviation, codenamed Poslanik, Envoy. Unlike the Tu-160, which resembles America's B-1, the PAC-DA follows a flying wing design similar to the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, but its intended capabilities far exceed its American counterpart in several key areas. According to information that has emerged from Russian sources, the PAC-DA is designed to be a long-range stealth strategic bomber with a range of 12,000 kilometers, enough to reach targets anywhere on Earth with minimal refueling. More impressively, it's reported to have a payload capacity of 30-35 tons, allowing it to carry multiple hypersonic missiles. Its armament options are expected to include up to 12 KH-BD cruise missiles with a 6,500-kilometer range, Kh-555 and Kh-101 102 missiles, the Kh-47 Kinzhal, and potentially the next-generation Kh-95 hypersonic missile, which is reported to have a range exceeding 5,000 kilometers. What makes this platform particularly significant is that it combines stealth technology with hypersonic strike capabilities, a combination that poses immense challenges for any defense system. A bomber that can't be detected, carrying missiles that can't be intercepted, represents a paradigm shift in strategic bombing capability. The development of this aircraft hasn't been without challenges. By late 2023, the PAC-DA was reportedly ready for ground strength tests, but the first flight, originally projected for 2024, has likely been postponed to 2025, with serial production expected to begin in 2027. The challenges of hypersonic flight. To truly appreciate the ambition of Russia's hypersonic bomber program, we need to understand the immense technical challenges involved. Hypersonic flight isn't simply flying faster. It's an entirely different regime of flight with unique challenges. At Mach 5+, friction with the atmosphere generates temperatures that can exceed 2,000 degrees, hot enough to melt most conventional aircraft materials. Developing materials and cooling systems that can withstand these temperatures remains one of the greatest hurdles engineers must overcome. The propulsion systems present another major obstacle, as conventional jet engines can't function efficiently at such extreme speeds. Alternative systems like scramjets, supersonic combustion ramjets, become necessary, yet these can only operate above Mach 4, meaning the aircraft needs an entirely different propulsion system to reach those speeds initially. Control and stability issues emerge as the air around the aircraft forms a plasma sheath at hypersonic velocities, disrupting communications and rendering traditional control surfaces less effective. Finally, the structural integrity of the aircraft faces unprecedented challenges from the combination of thermal expansion, intense vibration, and aerodynamic forces, creating engineering problems unlike anything seen in conventional aviation. These challenges explain why, despite decades of research, no nation has yet fielded an operational hypersonic bomber. The Russians, like everyone else pursuing this technology, are operating at the very edge of what's scientifically and technologically possible. The strategic implications. If Russia succeeds in fielding a true hypersonic bomber, the strategic implications would be profound. Traditional air defense systems rely on detecting incoming threats and having sufficient time to intercept them. A hypersonic platform fundamentally disrupts this equation. By the time such an aircraft is detected, it may be too late to mount an effective defense. The combination of the PAC-DA's stealth characteristics and hypersonic strike capabilities would create a particularly troubling scenario for military planners. A bomber that can't be detected on radar, carrying missiles that travel too fast to intercept, represents a capability against which there is currently no effective defense. This reality has accelerated America's own hypersonic programs, such as the secretive Project Mayhem, an air-breathing Mach 10 platform under development by the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory. Unlike one-shot hypersonic missiles, which cost around $100 million each, a reusable hypersonic aircraft could strike repeatedly, dramatically changing the cost-benefit equation of hypersonic warfare. The emerging hypersonic arms race has echoes of the Cold War, but with technologies that far exceed anything imagined during that era. We're witnessing the birth of an entirely new category of strategic weapons, with implications we're only beginning to understand. Current status and future outlook. Where does Russia's hypersonic bomber program stand today? The Tu-160 M2 modernization program continues, with 4 upgraded bombers delivered as of 2023 and plans for up to 50 aircraft in total. These platforms are already capable of launching hypersonic missiles, giving Russia a limited but operational hypersonic strike capability. The more ambitious PAC-DA program faces greater uncertainty. The Russian economy, strained by sanctions and military expenditures, may struggle to support such an expensive and technologically challenging project. Recent reports suggest several PAC-DA prototypes are in production, with the first flight now expected between late 2024 and early 2025. The known technical specifications include a maximum takeoff weight of 145 tons, a cruising speed of 800 kilometers per hour, and an operational ceiling of up to 20,000 meters. While the aircraft itself isn't hypersonic, its ability to launch hypersonic missiles from stealth positions makes it a formidable weapon system. As with many ambitious Russian military projects, there's likely a gap between announced capabilities and operational reality. The PAC-DA will almost certainly face delays, cost overruns, and performance compromises, but even a partially successful program would represent a significant leap in strategic bombing capability. The U.S. response. The United States hasn't been standing still while Russia develops these capabilities. America's response to the hypersonic threat has been multifaceted and comprehensive. The Pentagon has accelerated development of its own hypersonic weapons, including the AGM-183 ARW, Air-Launched Rapid Response Weapon, designed to restore strategic balance. Simultaneously, massive investments have poured into advanced air defense systems specifically engineered to track and intercept hypersonic threats, leveraging America's technological edge in radar and missile defense technology. The secretive Project Mayhem represents perhaps the most direct counter to Russia's ambitions. A hypersonic aircraft program with reportedly similar capabilities to what Russia seeks in the PAC-DA, but potentially benefiting from America's more advanced material science and propulsion technology. Complementing these offensive and defensive systems, the U.S. has also upgraded its early warning network to reduce the element of surprise from potential hypersonic attacks, ensuring that even these ultra-fast weapons can be detected early enough to mount an effective response. The result is an emerging hypersonic arms race that has echoes of the Cold War, but with far more advanced technology and potentially more destabilizing effects on the strategic balance. Conclusion: the future of aerial warfare. Russia's quest to build a deadly hypersonic bomber represents more than just an ambitious military project. It's a glimpse into the future of aerial warfare. Whether the PAC-DA program succeeds fully or partially, the technologies developed in pursuit of this goal will shape military aviation for decades to come. The marriage of stealth technology with hypersonic strike capabilities represents a new paradigm in strategic bombing, one that may require entirely new approaches to air defense. The nation that masters this combination first will gain a significant, if temporary, strategic advantage. For now, Russia's hypersonic bomber remains more aspiration than reality, a goal they have pursued since discovering those Nazi Silbervogel plans in 1945. But with each passing year, the technological barriers fall, bringing this decades-old ambition closer to fruition. The skies of tomorrow may well be dominated by aircraft that combine the invisibility of stealth with the unstoppable speed of hypersonic flight, creating weapons against which there is currently no defense. And that reality, more than any specific platform or program, represents the true significance of Russia's hypersonic bomber program. If you found this deep dive into advanced military technology fascinating, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content exploring the cutting-edge developments shaping our world. Your support helps us continue bringing you these in-depth analyses of the technologies that are changing the face of modern warfare.